Hello friends, my name is Irfan Kawchali and I am from Udyog Guru Training and Consultancy. Today's topic is how to be a good teacher. Teaching is one of the most important professions in today's society. As a teacher, you will shape the minds of others and encourage them to think independently. To become a good teacher, it's important to be organized, create lesson plans, objective activities and assessment plans well before each class day. Get your students interested in learning by fostering a positive, supportive, yet challenging classroom environment. Seek out other teachers for assistance too. What are the methods to develop a good classroom environment? Number 1. Create a daily objective for your student. This is your way of providing a roadmap for your students. It shows them that you have put thought into the day's work and you know where it is heading. It's best if the objectives are clear, brief and realistic. As each objective is completed, remind your students of what they have accomplished together. For example, in a high school literature class, an objective might be to complete a close reading of a particular poem by the end of the period. Some teachers find it helpful to post that day's objective on the board. It's okay if not every objective is met every day. In some cases, it's better to follow the flow of a particular conversation instead of railroading back to the original subject matter. Number 2. Listen to your student. Ask them open-ended questions after they have made a statement. Encourage them to ask you questions as well. Show that you are listening to them by nodding your head or gesturing for them to continue. Give them eye contact while they are speaking and try your best not to interrupt unless you must redirect the conversation. Being an active listener shows your student that you respect their voice in the classroom. They will be more likely to give you respect as a teacher in return. It's also a good idea to model for your students how to respectfully listen to someone while disagreeing with them. You might say, "I'm not sure I agree with what you are saying. Can you tell me more? Or does anyone else want to jump in?" Number 3. Keep students on task. Set time limits for classroom exercises or activities. In discussions, use your responses to their remarks as a classroom management tool. For example, you might say, "I really like what you are saying. How do you think it connects with objective number 5? Number 4. Push your students to succeed. Try to create an environment in which your student will be constantly intellectually challenged. Let them know that it is okay to fail on occasion. You want to strike a balance between setting too high of goals for them and being a pushed over. Use your student progress to guide your way. They should be steadily improving, but not without considerable effort. For example, you might give a short advanced level reading assignment to high school students and ask them to use a dictionary to look up unfamiliar words. If used sparingly, this is a great way to challenge students to expand their vocabulary. Second method, dealing with classroom challenges. There are many challenges in classroom that you are facing. So how to deal with that classroom challenges? Number 1, discipline in a prompt and thoughtful way. Make the rules for your classroom and each exercise very clear and consistent. If a student breaks a rule, handle it immediately in the classroom before moving forward. However, once you have made a disciplinary action, don't dwell on it or you could create additional problems. Also make sure that any consequences that you assign match the level of the offense committed. For example, if a student accidentally disrupts a designated quiet period, this can generally be corrected with a simple verbal warning for first offenses. You can also ask the student to stay after class and speak with you. This is one way to issue consequences without disrupting your classroom. Second challenge, assign leadership role to difficult students. Some students create problems in a classroom due to sheer boredom or feeling disconnected with the subject or their teacher. Start with giving a challenging student small personal tasks to complete. Then, over time, give them more difficult and public responsibilities. For example, You might ask a student to serve as a timekeeper for a class exercise. Be aware that this is an option that won't work for every challenging student. If they don't do well at the simple task, don't give them more advanced ones. Number third challenge that the students are facing in a classroom: express a personal interest in all students. In your own classroom and career. Number two, laugh and keep your sense of humor. Try to teach your student that learning doesn't have to be serious 24 by 7. If you do something that is funny or goofy, then laugh at yourself. Being a bit self depreciating will make you. If you incorporate humor or jokes into your lesson plans, then your students will likely remember the material better as well. Number third, repeat positive mantras on bad days. Not every teaching day will go perfectly, and some might even fall into the category of disaster. However, it's important to stay positive, or your students will pick up and reflect your negative energy. Take a moment to tell yourself, it's going to be okay, but tomorrow is a new day. Put a smile on your face and keep going. You might even say out loud, I love teaching because, and list of few reasons. For example, think about a moment when you saw real improvement in a student's life due to your efforts. If it's been a bad day for the students too, then you might even say that you want to do a reset. Tell them that you want to formally start the day over from that point forward. Number four, create good relationship with the parents of students. Communication is key when working with parents. Keep in touch with them via in-person conference, one-to-one, as well as written behavioral reports. Let them know that you are interested in their ideas and perspective on teaching. You can also solicit their help for events and celebration in your classroom. Make contact with Parent Teacher Association, that is PTA, at your school and ask what you can do to help. How to improving as a teacher. So biggest challenge, if someone is a teacher and he wants to improve or she wants to improve, what thing he or she has to do? Number one, seek out teaching mentors. Look for other teacher at your class or school who are willing to discuss teaching with you, or who will even let you sit in on their classes. If they are interested, invite them to your classroom as well. After they have seen you teach, ask them to provide you with constructive criticism. See if they have suggestions for how you can be an even better teacher. For example, they might suggest that you state your classroom objectives more clearly, then you can talk about how you had go about doing this. It's also a good idea to exchange teaching materials with your mentors and colleagues. Show them the format that you use for quizzes or tests and ask to see their versions. You don't have to teach the same subject to benefit from talking about teaching. You can also find mentors via teaching organizations or even at conferences. Stay in touch with the people that you meet and seek out their advice when you need it. Number two, take time to reflect. At the end of each semester or teaching period, sit down and evaluate what worked well and what didn't. Be honest with yourself and realistically assess what is in your power to change before teaching that particular class again. If you are preparing for a certain course that always causes problem, you might consider reaching out to your mentor for advice. For example, you might find that your students react better to project using media. If that's the case, think about how you can incorporate more media driven activities in your classroom. Number third and last one, take advantage of professional development opportunities. Go to teaching conferences in your area and meet other education professionals. Write articles about teaching and publish them in local magazine or newspaper. Serve as a grader for exams in your area, such as the advanced placement test. Keep learning and you will be a model for your students too. Please go through all the points, and in next session we are going to ask the question and answer about this session, and if any problem is there, we are going to discuss in the next session. Thank you for listening. This is your brother Irfan Kawchali from Udyog Guru Training and Consultancy. Thank you so much.